Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Hero's Journey. You're with your co-hosts, Michael Harris and Joel Sadler. Michael Harris is a behavioural strategist exploring human design and powerful coaching elements to help people grow and prosper, and has worked with hundreds of people over the last few years. My specialty is scaling businesses online, and I've worked with all sorts of businesses from e-commerce to SaaS-based businesses over the years as well. Welcome to the Hero's Journey. This is where we explore life and explore ways to increase performance, become in touch with yourself, in touch with others, improve relationships, and so forth. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about connecting with self, exploring elements. And the one thing I would say is paying attention to the little voice inside when something comes up or an issue comes up, and then going and exploring that rather than ignoring it. So if you like personal growth, subscribe to the channel below, and we'll kick off. Alrighty. Welcome, Mike.
Yo.
We just spent 20 minutes talking about some pretty amazing stuff, which we should have hit record on.
Yeah, we did. I just want to jump straight in on that too, because I can feel you still as you did our intro today.
Yeah.
And I want to share just put that on the table straight off, because I can feel you're still kind of in it. And so I thought it'd be really cool to address that now and just share with everyone that piece that you just got to realize. So would you like to share what just pivotally happened for you and the realization that you came to at the end of that?
Yeah, definitely feel connected with myself, feel present, calm. I can feel somehow a connection to you. Don't know how that all works, but just feel we're in connection, in the space. And yeah, things just flow, don't they, when you're in that space, So for me, I'm working on a project which is in the trading space. And that's quite, like any area of business, that's quite a neat, narrow niche where I wouldn't say few succeed, but the people that do succeed, it's not everyone that does it, because it requires a certain level of skill, but also what I'm learning, mindset and personal discipline. And so I had some challenges with that this morning, and it put me back up in my head, and doubt crept in. And I don't like to lose as well, which is a big challenge when you're trading, because you can then make emotional responses to that. If you've had a loss or whatever, I like to try and then catch up and end the day on a win, which is not always the case. So I'm becoming comfortable with it. It's okay to lose some and not have too high expectations on the system, but that it is random, and that I have a strategy, or I have a leg up from the start anyway. So just keep rolling with it and trust the system. Yeah, so I was stuck in that place, and then we were talking about human design and sort of why we're here. And I shared that part of mine as an emotional generator, and which is part of the system. And we won't get into that part now. We can maybe later, but my strategy of that is waiting to respond, which kind of to me means just relaxing, going on the journey, taking the lessons as they come, and just trusting that it's all going to flow out. And so
based on your intention, right? So I'll just preface this to clear this up. It's like, as a manifesting generator, you have an intent.
Yep.
And then you manifest that intention. And so what you're referring to then is that once that intention's been really is firm and you've energized it and continue to, then it's trusting. That's the process you're talking about, trusting. And
100%. Yeah. And I've learned that if I try and push things too hard or too fast, then I move into my head. And that's where I was today. I'd been triggered, and to be fair as well, I'd had a cup of coffee. And so I find sometimes, I'm not anti-coffee, but sometimes I find coffee can stimulate into that head.
Takes your way out of the heart into the head,
for
sure, caffeine.
You're kind of thinking. So that's possibly another challenge for me, is to kind of look at how I use coffee or not use coffee.
You could look at that for the dopamine reset challenge on the Brotherhood.
I was going to do that today, but I didn't. I was going to have a cold shower at 4:45 a.m. and then trade rather than having a coffee, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. But I'll commit to testing that out and see how that changes things. Yeah, but long story short, just our conversation of that there's a greater plan, that there's a greater strategy, these little lessons that come up along the way, there's gold out the back of them. and they are lessons, help taking us through to the next stage, taking, in this case, me through the next stage, which is being profitable and well, not being profitable, but being successful, which means
In the trading specifically,
yeah,
right?
in the
What you
trading, but regulating my mind and my emotions, and just it becomes just business as usual. That's what my
Mhm.
goal is just
Yeah.
be able to do it long term,
And what we touched on too, right, which I just
Mm,
connect this piece in here, is trusting the process and understanding that your higher self is creating
mm.
all the wins, but also all the mistakes, the perceived mistakes, because those are all the pieces that you need along the way to be who you need to be in order to have what you want to have.
Oh,
That's the piece, that's surrendering
yes.
to that. When you chunk out and observe it from that level, like a bird's eye view down, you're like, oh, right. When you get to zoom right out, you get to see it all differently. But when you're stuck in the micro and the weeds, you just see
Mm,
something up in front of you. But once you zoom out, you're like, oh, that was why that was there. Oh, that's what I got from that. And it's like, okay, I'm trusting the process and trusting my higher self has got my greatest good in mind.
100%. Like,
Yeah.
so I like to analyze what I've done right or wrong. And so I listened to a video today, and I've now written out a new strategy, and I've tested it a few times. Complete, um, sorry, a tweak on the strategy,
Yeah.
and it's worked every single time. And I've realized that, so I'm sitting an exam at the moment. The exam creates that element of stress or anxiety or subconscious awareness that there's a challenge. It's called a challenge. And I actually think sometimes that it's presented that way to create that, because every time you fail the challenge, you have to pay more money to do it again, right? So
Hmm.
it's in the firm's interest that you fail multiple times and
Yeah.
make more money, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a bit cynical, but um I've worked out a way where I can work within those boundaries calmly and collectedly. But then once I've got a live account, then actually just trade how I would normally trade. So just tweaking the strategy a little bit to just pass the exam, if you know what I mean. And then
Hmm.
once the exam's done, it's done. Yeah. So it's quite really interesting. It's stimulated learning. Yeah, you're right. You're so right. Wow. I just got that. I just got that in front, that I've done that, but I was still in my head. I was still feeling, bad about it, but there's already a new strategy that's been birthed out of that problem.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Beautiful, eh? So
Yeah.
yeah, for everyone, before we got on, well, before we started recording, I kind of wish we'd actually recorded right from the start of our conversation, because I had a very deep share, which I'll come into in a minute. And we got to see Joel go from literally being really shaming himself and judging himself for
Mm.
making him for being wrong or making the mistakes, and just feeling that energy, to literally him having the epiphany and realization that he's just shared, and literally getting out of his head and just dropping in, and you could just instantly feel his energy soften and change. So
Mm.
that for me on the outside is what I just watched transpire, which is quite beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yes.
so, yeah, tell us about your similar experience, Mike, and, well,
Are we?
different, but
Here's a
similar kind of
learning
thing.
for
Yeah.
me. We're
Mm.
definitely going to record from the get go, because often we, like I just said, Joel and I will jump on to we'll
Mm.
catch up with each other first, and we just start talking, and often some of the gold comes out just when him and I are catching up. So that's a huge
Yeah.
lesson for me. I as we touched on before, the full moon energy. It's the 17th of October here, 2024 in New Zealand today. And from recollection, the full moon energy is going to be around for around 5 days. I think a few days prior into like its full, I think full moon tonight, and then another 2 or 3 days later. And in this new energy, it's a very powerful time, because it's saying goodbye to the old and the stuff that's no longer serving us, and being very intentional in manifesting what it is that you would love to have in your life. And last night at home, I had something come up for me that kind of, I felt triggered an older part, a wounded part, a younger self, of just needing to be understood, needing to be loved and wanted, and feeling like he was not loved, feeling like he was a little bit abandoned. And
Mm.
this stuff came up for me. I was like, this is interesting. So I just sat with it. I watched a YouTube video on the power of the full moon and the cycle and what's going on. I was like, okay, I just trusted my intuition to go where I wanted to go, and lean into this. And so I got a old quartz crystal that my great auntie Marie gave me many, many years ago, who I loved dearly. She was like a second mother to me. She was a dwarf. She was a
Mm,
little lady. And I had this beautiful relationship with her where I was kind of her protector because she got picked on a little bit with people pointing and making fun of her.
mm,
And she bestowed such love to me and my sister, and just was so beautiful for us growing up. And so I have this affinity and connection to her. And I found this piece of quartz crystal that she gave me when I was a kid. And so I just felt
mm,
compelled to get this last night. And then I sat down on the couch and I just put some music on, and all of a sudden I just had this overwhelming feeling to connect to my great auntie. And I just felt this whole surge of energy connect through my body as I felt like I really connected to her, and just ended up having such a deep feeling of gratitude and love and appreciation for her and everything she'd done in my life. And then my grandmother and my grandfather on my mother's side, and just connected to them all sobbing, just sobbed. Not from sadness, but just deep appreciation and gratitude and love, and just lay
mm,
there in that and basked. I could feel them really connected with me. And I just intuitively then asked for them and let them know that I'm holding generational stuff that's not mine anymore. And I asked them to assist me in helping me let this all go. And I went through a process internally with myself and them, and I just breathed all these old paradigms, these old structures, perceptions out, and gave it back out up to the light. And I just
mm.
felt this huge release. It was a
Wow.
really beautiful moment. And that would have gone on for maybe 20 odd minutes. And then I moved into this full moon meditation, one I found on YouTube that I had never heard before, with a woman. And it was beautiful and soft, and took me even deeper, and just manifested the different aspects of things I want in my life and just energized them. And then I thought that was amazing, thought that was incredible. And that was about 20 minutes. And then all of a sudden, I felt I needed to put some music on. So I put a piece of music on, and then went in to another deep, deep kind of space in myself, and connected back to this 5-year-old self that I have a very strong memory of, and where he was left at school. And I hated being dropped off at school. I had
Mm,
abandonment issues around 5, and I felt like I was going to be left, not loved, not validated.
mm,
And interestingly, been doing a lot of this work for the number of years now, but this particular piece and moment in self had been coming up in my awareness, like I shared with you, over the last couple of weeks. I'd kind of get a snapshot or a glimpse of the school gate. I can see him there, and he's walking, and he doesn't want to go into the school.
mm,
And so as I put this music on last night and I went in and came to the school gate and met him there. And man, oh man, did I connect with that younger part.
mm.
He felt validated and seen and loved for the first time, and
Wow.
since then. And it was so profound that I bawled from the depth of my soul as I reconnected with this younger part, and just gave him the love that he'd always been wanting, and gave him the validation that he'd always been wanting. It was so powerful.
Mm,
And I changed the end of the picture. It was ended up being me and him walking off together hand in hand out of the school. It just naturally, the imagery that came up,
mm.
that he wasn't alone anymore.
Nice.
Going to get emotional sharing it. It was the
That's so.
realization that he wasn't alone anymore, and he was seen and he was loved
Mm,
for the
mm.
first time in a very
Wow.
long time. These tears are not sadness. It's just this
Mm,
deep appreciation and gratitude and love for myself, that I could show up for myself like that and meet me
mm,
and give myself what I needed. It's just to see that imagery change and feel it in my body as I just let go of. I could feel all the shift and the perceptions and the pain and the grief just go yesterday.
mm.
And
Wow.
now that imagery's changed, that him and I are connected, that he's not alone, it's this massive, feels like I've come home to myself, and I've filled a
Mm,
big void that was in there.
mm,
And it's the piece that's now feels like I've kind of made myself whole again, in the sense,
mm,
energetically, which is going to allow me to shine and fully express myself. That was the
mm.
massive realization I got from it.
Oh,
So yeah, that's what I did last night, and I'm so grateful I did it.
yeah. That's
Grateful.
amazing.
Yeah.
And
And
watch, you and I know what'll come out the back of that is it's like magic happens. It's like a line, an invisible line in the sand at that moment. So, and the work I've done with you on similar integrations with my past self,
Yeah.
it's as if something changed. You're right, in the energy, in the atmosphere, in the universe, however it works, that you're never the same moving forward.
No,
And
no,
all these
you
things just
shifted.
fall off,
Yeah, you
and
shifted. Like,
situations change,
it's the
relationships change. It's
perception
phenomenal.
and the wound and the trauma
Yeah.
that's stored in the nervous system. When you
Mm,
shift that, when you
mm,
change that, it shifts everything. Because
yeah.
and especially in that subconscious mind, which is, again, we're projecting our reality out into the world. So that's why everything changes, because
Mm.
we've shifted ourselves.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Holy moly. So you're saying you've changed yourself internally, so
Yes.
the way you view yourself,
And the
the
world
world changes, and that's
changes. It's just a
why
mirror.
it changes around you. Holy
It's
moly.
just a mirror of what's going on for us internally.
I think we've spoken about that before, but I just got that. That's massive. That explains it. That makes sense. And that's why when you then, I've noticed even with relationships with people seem different. I'm like, what? Like for the better, but it's
Yeah.
actually me and the way I'm interacting and influencing through energy, that person and all sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
100%. Like, everything is there as a mirror for you to get what it is that you need to get.
Wow.
And perceptually, your perception is creating the reality. So whatever's going on internally influences your
Mm,
perception of what you
mm.
project out.
Be interesting talking to you next week and or in 2 weeks' time, and just to see, looking back, if you've noticed anything in particular that has unfolded differently or changed over the next few
I can
days.
tell you already,
Mm,
like, and
mm,
I'm
mm,
going to definitely journal or keep an eye on that, and I journaled this
mm,
last night. There's something else I'm really grateful for anyone listening to. If you meditate, and on meditation, I highly recommend it. I highly recommend showing up for yourself and connecting with your higher self in some fashion or form, and finding someone you can follow a meditation through that resonates with you. Because it is such an important piece of honoring and loving ourselves. And again, coming back to the most important part, which influences the external, which is ourselves and our higher selves. So the
mm,
more you come home to yourself, you build a deeper sense of trust and compassion and love, and you get a deeper understanding of why you're here, and that you're here to experience all these things. And it grounds you in yourself. It
mm,
grounds you in yourself so that you can look at life differently when you get challenges, problems. Things don't trigger you as much because you understand on a deeper level it's there to serve you.
mm,
It's really profound. And once you start pulling the veil back and looking behind it like that, you can't unsee what you've seen. You can't unexperience what you've experienced or feel what you felt. So
mm, mm.
I just really recommend, for everyone to do that for themselves. So important. Where
Wow.
was I going? There's something else I was going to add just prior to that, segued into that. What was it? No, lost it. I was with a client today. This just came up. I was with a client this morning, did a very deep integration with him on a younger part for him. And he just sent me a message prior to this going, oh my God, I wish I could do that every day. So that's really lovely. That's kind of aligned with what I'm talking about. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Do you want to wrap it up with giving us a little bit of an intro into human design? And I know you're just starting to get into it yourself, but do you want to explain it a little bit, what it is, and maybe share a little bit about what you've found it for yourself, and how you've integrated or going to integrate that into your coaching?
sure. Human design is something I've known about for a long time, and I've touched on and flirted with, and
Mm,
had friends that are coaches in the space. And I finally got a reading done, I think it was last week, with a friend of mine. And wow, yeah, I'd already done the astrology readings, which is kind of defining and understanding your soul's journey, your soul's path, based on, when you're incepted in here, with birth, place, date, and time. And for some of you, especially me, and might be thinking this is woo woo and all the rest of this. Trust me, I'm very pragmatic. I'm a realist. But when you start to understand that everything's connected, and that we can tell a lot by the macro,
mm,
the moon, as we know, affects everything here, tides, energies, all sorts. Everything affects everything. And so the alignment of the planets and so forth, when you come in, have a big part to play essentially in your program. Like, as you
mm,
came into this reality, you were programmed.
mm,
And the alignment of everything is an imprint almost of what the program was at the time. And so they can kind of decipher this now, and it's been around for a very long time. And where the human design goes a bit deeper than just, say, the soul pathway and different things that come up, as it goes into how you function and turn up as a human being here. In other words, Joel touched on it before, whether you're, for example, a generator, a manifesting generator, or a projector, these all have an impact on how you interact with the world and how you're best designed to interact with the world. And then when you start to understand this about yourself, you get to be in flow more, because you're not just trying to push or pull and trying to conform to what you see everyone else doing or someone else doing. You get to kind of honor who you are and show up in the way that you're designed to show. So that's part of it. And then understanding as well different aspects of your DNA and being, and to lessons and parts of you that are going to be challenges and parts of you that are going to be like supportive here with how you're set up. And also your own incarnation cross, which is what you're here to do. And when I heard mine, it's like I just got teary, because again, it builds a deeper sense of trust. This is just, this information is all put through in some software, and it's literally just off those 3 pieces of information I shared before again, which was birth date, place, and time.
Oh.
And from that, like, it told me, for example, my incarnation cross, my reason for being here, it was to, I'll read it actually, because it's in the language that came out of that, the software. Is, I am to inspire and assist others in making sense of their past by testing experience against accepted patterns, thus progressing towards new ways of thinking and understanding life. Wow. Now, when I hear that, that's exactly what I'm living.
Yeah.
I'm living exactly that. And so it's not like a fluke. It's not a chance. There was a lot of information I went through that just was like, it's not trying to tell you what you are. It's showing you. It's not trying to make you something, not trying to put you in a box. It's showing you. It's and when you read it and you understand, it really resonates. So I just want to be really clear. It's not trying to put you in a box or label you, but it's showing you who you are. Yeah, and some people are living their life by design and some aren't. And when you're not living by design, you feel incongruent and you get frustration or bitterness. But when you're living in design, wow, it just, like when I heard all that again, it just had a deeper sense of self-love, self-appreciation, and trust, and knowing that I'm on my journey and I'm grateful to be able to experience this life and fulfill what I'm here to do. That's kind of what it's done.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
I'm just getting started on it. So I want to start integrating this into my practice, because to me, this is like going to the depth, the core of someone, and what better place to go and utilize to get the best out of them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, those tools, like I reiterate what you're saying, that they are just tools to help an individual understand themselves better.
Yeah.
You know, I've done a number of them over the years, and they're really eye-opening. In some cases, sort of flooring. Hey, you just kind of think, holy moly, like, you know, how is it so accurate? You know, about personality, strengths, weaknesses. You know, obviously, most of us are probably familiar of the profiling type tools that are used in a workplace. So take a workplace type profiling tool and add another level of depth and explanation to it. It's just phenomenal. So highly recommend anyone interested in this to reach out to Mike. Just whack a comment in the channel, and if you're interested in exploring human design for yourself, highly recommend it. Yeah.
And yeah, doing some deep inner work. Yeah, which is where I love to play in that space.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man, this was a really, really nice conversation. And
it was, yeah, it is.
It was beautiful that we got to see the shift for you and the transition out of where you were to a deeper understanding and appreciation for exactly where you are and who you are. And yeah, I really appreciate you holding space for me to share my experience too. And I hope that for those that have listened, got some value from that, and an invitation for yourself to explore you. Start going in and exploring yourself as well. That's where all the magic and the beauty is within.
100%.
Yeah.